And now we are live, welcoming in episode 141 of umbraCoffee, where I'm today joined by two amazing representatives of .NET Core Umbraco team, Bjarke, straight from Umbraco HQ, and Andy. Hello, guys. How are you?
We're good.
Hello. Good, thank you.
How was your week? Was it a really busy week, or it was just a calming down before the final point of which we will be talking about today?
From my perspective, it has been all about release this week, preparing last bits and nursing for the final release and so on.
Yeah, and Andy, what about you?
For me this week, really just waiting for the release. Just watching the Unicorn yesterday, it's just pleasing to see it. We've got to this first milestone. So.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you watched the Unicorn, because yesterday there was a return of the show straight from the Umbraco HQ, and we've seen the release or the button push of the alpha release of .NET Core Umbraco version, and I think it's a good point right now to redirect everyone who is interested on some kind of background of the .NET Core version or some steps and ideas which were discussed there. All the community members who are not here right now with us, who are involved in make it all happen. It's 20 minutes on Umbraco HQ YouTube, so a link will be, of course, in the description, so we can probably redirect users there. And there was also a blog post released at the end of the Unicorn stream, with some summary written by you, Bjarke, of what happened, what's included in the alpha release, and how to get started, how to run it. And I know that you were preparing some kind of demo today for us. So can you guys tell us more about this release, what it is, maybe show something what not everyone tried or seen yet, because yesterday you were not showing the running version, but everyone is probably curious how it looks, how it works, and some of the guys already tried it on Macs, Linux machines. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, but we can start with a demo if you like.
Yep. Let me just add the screen.
So
yeah,
on the blog post, we had the getting started. Some of the important steps, or the first important steps, is to add a new source for NuGet packages. We have a new feed for Umbraco pre-releases, and this is a one-time thing. We plan to use this feed for all the alpha versions, and when we reach beta, we plan to use the official NuGet feed. But right now, we don't want to bloat the official NuGet feed with lots of alpha versions. Now I can say .NET new, install a template, umbraco.template, and when the final release is ready, this will be the thing to write. But right now, because it's a pre-release, we have to specify the version. And installs. So now we can see Umbraco is available. With the rest of the default templates from Microsoft, and when we release new alpha versions, we will most likely also have to update the template. In that case, you can type .NET new and update check, and then you can see if there are new versions available, and if any is available, you can apply these. Right now, there's nothing new, but I can try to create or use the new template. So I can ask for help. So we have two options. The first one is to specify a version if you're not using the default one. I don't expect you to use this one, but in theory, it can be used if we ship a new version without any changes to the template. Then you can specify another version. And then another option to use SQL Compact Edition. We can try to create a new project using the SQL Compact Edition. And we have to specify a name.
And this whole magic can be performed from various machines. That's the beauty, right, of the build of that.
Exactly. This is the future of templating in .NET Core, and Rider already supports it, and the latest preview of Visual Studio has it if you enable it. I can show that later. So you can use Visual Studio from start on. You don't have to learn all the command lines. So now we have a new project. And it consists of a config file and a transformations for a development environment, a solution file, and a program and a startup file. These are almost identical to what is shipped by Microsoft in their default template, but we added small bits of Umbraco into these. I can try to build. And now it restores the NuGet package, which is referenced in the CS project. And the NuGet package also copies in files like the Umbraco folder and the config folder and so on. I can show that afterwards. So now we have a config folder, Umbraco folder, and VVV root with an Umbraco folder in that. So this is one of the changes between Framework and .NET Core. Now everything that needs to be accessible from a browser needs to be put into the VVV root folder. So all your scripts and CSS styles and so on will be located there. We can try to run it.
Yeah, because it's worth to remember and remind everyone that the alpha version is just half of the Umbraco. Let's say it's a back office ported right now to work on .NET Core, and that's a first step from the initial roadmap to get closer to the fully functional Umbraco as a CMS itself, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now, because I installed the template using the use SQL Compact Edition, we have a fast install option like we had in Umbraco 8. Otherwise, you was forced to go to next step and choose between the options. But we can try to install it using Compact Edition. And this also showcases one of our known issues, because when we install Umbraco, we are restarting the app, and that's not possible yet. So right now I manually have to restart it.
Can you just zoom into this console window? John just asked if it's possible to just have a... Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you've mentioned issues. I assume that there is some more issues, and you are probably looking to catch them all before the next releases.
Exactly.
Is there any feedback coming back from the initial testers already?
We already had 2 issues created, and one of them also resolved, and I answered in a way that I hope other community members could resolve similar issues, because this is one of the known changes, and it's also one of it's a kind of issue that can be introduced without we know it if we merge V8 into this solution. So yeah, it's nice someone found it.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning too that that's one of the reasons for this alpha release, because as you said, it's only half of Umbraco. You're not going to be building anything on this yet. It's more kind of showing progress and seeing the back office. But by having something out there, we're hoping it'll be a lot easier to spin up kind of up for grabs tasks that are a bit more discrete than we've been able to do up to now. So, if there is a missing feature or if there is a bug fix, it's hopefully be easy to get people involved. And it's been quite pleasing to see that a few people already have downloaded and had a play and find some things.
Yeah.
Again, I want to raise it for the community members, because some of the people usually test things and say, oh, it doesn't work, it's just not ready yet. And that's the purpose of alpha releases, to understand what's not working in which scenarios. I've seen people testing it on Macs and with some successes and some problems on the way, and any problem like that on every other journey is beneficial for you as a team or for the product itself, because you can fix it, you can find it, and it's not possible to find it all by a single person or team, right?
Exactly. So now I'm into the back office as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to create a simple dot type.
So nice. It's fully functional with all the nice and sweet features of also the recent release candidate from what we've heard yesterday on the Unicorn, right? So the block editor and block elements as well.
Exactly, and to be honest, one of the biggest challenges is to keep this branch up to date or what happens in V8. And there are some crazy merge conflicts. So this is an area where most likely there will be something I have resolved or conflicts I have resolved wrong. So please also test new features of Umbraco in this one.
Yeah, we were talking before going live that what were the biggest challenges, and probably the solution for that would be to freeze all the development on V8 and then port it in the current version. But it's such a evolving product, and we've also seen a lot of tweets from Niels and other community members how many things is introduced to. For example, the release candidate version. It was I can't remember the number, but it was a huge amount of community pull requests, and to keep them in sync and merge them back to the newer and older version, obviously other version from the code perspective, it's a challenge itself.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough task sometimes.
And we all love merge conflicts, right?
Exactly. I think the last merge I did, I had 60 merge files conflicting or something like that. Yeah,
but it works really quick, and you've mentioned that it was noticeable just thanks to the framework upgrade as well, that some of the actions which were sometimes slower in the past right now by default are working faster thanks to the optimizations done on the framework level, right?
Yeah. So
we see.
I just uploaded a GIF, and that is a bit slow. I know that because it has to resize it, and it's still a full GIF. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, I mean, obviously nothing's been benchmarked yet. It's only kind of, it just seems faster. And maybe it is, which is great if it is. But that was obviously one of the reasons of moving to .NET Core. Obviously keeping relevance and being able to work cross-platform, all that type of thing, but getting the benefit of the platform and performance improvements into Umbraco. So it's nice to see on the alpha release, at least it seems to be snappy and quick.
Yeah, totally agree. Now I can show one of the issues, or not an issue, one of the things that is disabled in on Mac and Linux is examine. So if I search for on Windows, I will still find content. This is disabled on Mac and Linux because otherwise you will have a lot of errors shown. And we have a clear path for how to resolve this. It's not prioritized yet.
Okay. Because you have a list of known issues already. So probably we can also point people to this list first to not duplicate them and raise them again. But so what is the stage of the implementation here? I also remember that you were saying that the members, for example, are also not migrated to the new identity providers. What else?
Yeah, so all the front-end rendering is still HTTP modules and stuff by IIS. All these needs to be migrated into ASP.NET Core middleware. And then, yes, as you mentioned, members will need to be upgraded. Examine needs to be upgraded. These are the big parts. In previews, we will have to look into some of the changes in Signal R. But I don't think that is a big task, but something we will have to look into.
Good.
Some of the new features of ASP.NET Core is also pretty cool. So in the future, it will be possible to say inject here and then content service or something like that. And then you use it like this, whatever. So instead of having to use the static service locator we had in V8 called current, I think it will cause something like this. So this is one of the changes we are aware of will happen, and also namespaces will be changed. Right now, this is already changed, and this is most likely also one of the things that will be changed heavily when we reach the alpha beta versions, between now and the beta versions. We haven't looked into refactor all the namespaces yet.
Okay.
And
from the perspective,
oh, sorry, Marcin, I was just going to follow up. It's worth mentioning, though, what we're aiming not to change, because clearly moving to .NET Core is a big jump, and will be a lot of difference for developers using Umbraco. And as Bjarke says, some namespaces will change. We can use features like dependency injection a lot more. But we aren't aiming to change anything around the database. We're not aiming to change the Umbraco APIs. The back office front-end stack isn't planning to change as part of this project. So there's a lot of stuff we'll just carry over. And we're kind of conscious of that to try and balance. It's a new major version. It's a chance of breaking changes where things can be improved. But on the other hand, we don't want to make it such a big jump that the jump from 8 to whatever version this becomes more difficult for people than it needs to be.
Yeah, that was totally related with what I wanted to ask. Okay. A lot of migration questions are also popping out, and people are afraid. Will they be able to migrate? What's the database changes? And I've seen yesterday some threads about possible next steps of bringing some kind of, for example, entity framework core to having a layer of communication with other database systems and stuff like that. But I remember that there were some answers that focus is totally right now on a Microsoft SQL right now server, and making it working fine and efficient and really performant on this server, and then possible next steps to not break anything what's already there, to introduce new systems, new layers of this communication. But that's a good information. I think that the services and things like that, it was easier. It's going to be easier to even migrate or upgrade to this version if it will be just a behind the scenes changes of the framework itself.
Yeah, of course you will have to update all packages, and all templates will need to be updated, but I don't expect more database changes, if any, but I don't expect more than between minor versions.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Awesome. And Andy, if you are here, you're a representative of the community team. And I think that the topic of collaboration of Umbraco HQ with community team members is always something what interests also other members, because it's not like that the team is only working on this and or the only HQ is working and team is suggesting ideas. How's the collaboration happened, and how's the exchange of knowledge? Because I know that you and Emma, you were involved in some kind of .NET Core work before, right? And how it combined with the HQ efforts, and how's the collaboration going for you?
Sure. Yeah. Well, to an extent, I mean, I'm like most people listening, I expect mostly spending the time with .NET Framework, working with Umbraco or other .NET CMSs. So, I didn't come in with a massive amount of .NET Core knowledge, and selfishly, one of the reasons for joining was just try and make sure I'm able to kind of get up to speed on that. But yeah, I mean, I think the collaborations work really well, and I think I hope we've made ourselves useful. We had a session in Odense back in February, I think, where we got together, and then since then we've had every fortnight we have a catch up over Zoom, where Bjarke kind of presents what's gone on in the last sprint, and we talk about where we can get involved and where we can help the community get involved. I mean, I think the biggest single thing is definitely the work that Emma and her colleague Scott from Rock Solid Digital did around the migration of users into ASP.NET Core identity, and that was a big chunk of work. And I think from HQ's perspective, that was really nice just to be able to kind of hand that off and have someone that can take that on and implement it for them. And then otherwise, we've done one of the main reasons I kind of joined the team was I've contributed to Umbraco for a while, but I was very conscious that this project would be very hard to contribute without being a little bit closer to it. It might be easier now, as I said earlier, now we've got the alpha out. But if you pick a feature that you're trying to implement or a bug fix, it's fairly clear. It might be a challenge to do, but it's fairly clear what the endpoint is and what you're trying to get to. But to join in a big migration project like this, it's potentially difficult to think, okay, where can I contribute? And being able to kind of have these catch-ups every 2 weeks has made it a lot easier for me to be able to, implement some things myself, and also to kind of create some issues on the tracker for other people to join in with.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well.
So it's not like the end of journey. That's also what needs to be mentioned. It's like just a milestone or step towards the further releases. So guys, what's next? So you still are looking for help and contributions and other collaborations. What's next in the agenda?
So hopefully all issues found in the alpha release can be up for grabs, because these are not blocking us in our next tasks. And this has been the most difficult thing, to find new tasks that not having a tight deadline or something like that. But especially testing on Linux and Mac, especially if you have case-sensitive file systems, is very valuable. We know we have a lot of hard-coded paths with wrong / versus /, and Windows don't care. So you can use both in Windows and it works, but case-sensitive file systems are more pedantic.
Yeah, and what you've Andy said, I think it's also important for all the Umbraco community members, is like that's a really amazing opportunity to learn new technology still while working with Umbraco, because that was always mentioned by various representatives that it's hard to convince .NET developers to use Umbraco because it was old or older than the normal new world of core development, and right now it's the worlds are merging. So everyone can also learn, and if someone worked in .NET Core and maybe right now is working with Umbraco, can help as well. And that's for what we should encourage everyone in our teams, because it's for our own and everyone's good to make it done better and best, and probably the best in the .NET Core world.
And that aligns with another piece of work that's going on at the minute. There's some discussions and some actual implementations. I'm just trying to get Umbraco to align more with the way .NET Core is done, the kind of paradigms, the patterns used there. So around configuration and around dependency injection in particular, we've had some feedback on that, and there's some changes going on around that as well. To say just to make it familiar to people coming from .NET Core. So we want to be familiar for people coming from Umbraco 8, but also people coming new, thinking in a couple of years' time even, that they are able to use Umbraco and also to contribute to it.
Yeah, I think that the case here is that something might be obvious for people who are or were working with .NET Core, and maybe you are not always following these patterns because you were not working. Not all of you were working with .NET Core before, and it's everywhere the same. There is no best practice for single thing, right? That's the thing. But there are some people who are experienced, and their feedback is essential. And I know that James South, for example, were helping and commenting a lot about the possible approaches, as he is kind of really experienced in core part right now, not like Umbraco in sync this time. But more people like that would be definitely helpful for moving it forward to the right direction, or to the proper, or it's hard to say proper, to a little bit better implementation.
I think is the important thing, and yeah, definitely. I mean, his feedback was really useful, particularly as somebody who's not only an excellent developer, obviously, but he knows open source well, so he kind of knows some of the challenges from building a library that other people use. So yeah, that was really useful.
So call to action, where people can contribute, where they can find issues on Umbraco's issue tracker. Is there any label which we can link?
There's the project /netcore and up for grabs like usual.
Yeah. And as we have Hacktoberfest coming, that may be another. I even have a T-shirt right now. It's yeah.
2 years ago, I think.
Another possible area to contribute is Cypress test, the acceptance test, because they are reusable between version 8 and this .NET Core version, and it's pretty nice to verify, especially every time I merge, that stuff is still working.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think it's a good moment to really high five everyone involved in this release. Of course, you were having the other team members on the .NET Core team who deserved a big high five, and other people who contributed. But as we all said, it's not the end of the journey, and everyone can still become a huge part of this evolution of Umbraco. So let's have it in mind and continue this amazing journey. And congrats, guys, on achieving this milestone already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we can jump to the other community packages releases, because I think that package creators as well will be really involved in this kind of migration path, because assuming that Umbraco is not only the core, but it's also very extendable, and all the package creators were helping in making Umbraco tailored for the specific project needs. It's also will require their efforts to or collaboration with HQ as well to make it ready for the .NET Core version and supported in .NET Core version. And I found a really nice example of how you can motivate yourself to create packages or to start package migrations. And it was coming from Soren, who just after our last week's umbraCoffee started a repository with Umbraco block type custom view previewer, and started gather some ideas of how it can look, what it can do, and just without any single line of code, the project and the idea just started. So if anyone can motivate themselves like that, I'm really admiring Soren, and let's contribute and let's help. Even Callum couldn't believe that. That was the really amazing idea of starting something what doesn't exist yet. And as we've said, Umbraco block editor and custom element types are also present in the core version. So if anyone will be working on the massive project or package for Umbraco, it can be grabbed from there and maybe wrote in .NET Standard already, or maybe other implementations to be supported in the upcoming releases of Umbraco. And we also had a lot of other package releases this week. One of the biggest and most awaited was also the CMS import, which is, if I'm correct, the last project, the last package from Richard, which right now is migrated and supported in Umbraco V8. So it's ready to be used, and I know that a lot of people were using it on Umbraco installations. And there are some new packages which are bringing some kind of new joy into Umbraco world, of course, for V8 right now, but a new color picker from Bjarke, and a new package from Aaron, which is really interesting, and is masking back office access and hiding it from being accessed from the front end by some configurations and redirects and enable domains. And new upgrades. You've mentioned the Examine, and I have Examine somewhere. So Shannon is also working on some kind of upgrades of Examine, which right now are for the previous versions of Umbraco, with some fixes and the new things being introduced, and Meganav fork from original Meganav from Callum, done by Aaron, also had a language variant support right now. So that's the package upgrades happening this week. And guys, did you already think about packages system for the core version? Are there any ideas? Do you collaborate with the package team and all the efforts done by the package team in Umbraco?
Of course, we are collaborating, but we are looking into new ways to load packages on the fly. Again, we don't want to reboot Umbraco every time a new package is added if you use the UI. But in .NET Core, there are something called assembly context where you can load and unload these on the fly. So we haven't started yet, but we will have to look into this. Hopefully we can have a single package in one folder and everything collected in that.
Yeah, that would be really good. And still, involving other big players like for example, marketing suite team who helped in Umbraco 8.7 development due to the requirements of the package itself. And also, by the way, the marketing suite released a new version 1.4 with personalization feature with segments and everything else working already there. I think it would be essential to sync those work, because also we've been highlighting some of the works done by package team recently. It's all evolving so fast that the synchronization of it is probably the key to see it all working together at some point, right? Other releases, maybe more teasers than releases, because also Matt Brailsford teased us with some kind of preview of analytics feature for vendor, and again, really well developed and maintained extension for Umbraco, which is essential for e-commerce implementations, will receive a really nice looking analytics section for itself. And also in our team, we were working on 2 new packages which we teased this week. One of them is for Azure Search Client, which is constantly developed by one of our developers, Adrian, and it's coming really soon. And last but not least, I don't know if anyone of you seen this issue being discussed on Twitter, coming back again, the content blocking part of Umbraco. So using kind of information or communication between editors to not override their changes. I've done a small beta package for one of our clients where we are blocking or informing editors here that someone else saved a new version of this document. So either close and copy what you've done, or just refresh the page if you want to make changes to that. So simple, naive approach this time. But I've seen some pull requests with Signal R implementation and things like that. Again, something what was mentioned multiple times by editors and other implementators, that might be a game changer in Umbraco as well. So if anyone wants to contribute, that's my call to action this week. I'm really looking forward to some help and support in that. And guys, did you see the script issue this week with new articles from Laura and Callum?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a new release, and I think again, Callum is of course on holidays. As you've probably noticed, he is not here, so he is enjoying a sun in Greece. But he wrote a really nice article about again some kind of thoughts about Umbraco ecosystem, how it can be changed, and I think that Callum is one of those community members who seen a lot, who discussed with a lot of people. He is very present in the meetup, so he gathered a lot of feedback. And he also worked a lot with WordPress, which is something what I can tell right now when he is not around. And he shared a lot of feedback of how this experience and everything else can be improved in Umbraco. So really good article with a really good feedback coming back. Definitely worth reading. And the second article is from Laura, and it's about dark pattern in the whole kind of journey. And I it's on my to-do list right now, and I haven't read it. But again, it's connection of Laura's interests in the psychology recently and all the stuff outside of the IT. So right now, combined with some kind of company efforts and how it can affect us as engineers or developers or people involved in the tech. Really nice issue, highlighting also various releases and events coming next. So yeah, that was Script. And something what I wanted to bring back, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a keynote speaker announced for a virtual Umbraco experience this year. And it's Scott Hanselman, who's supposed to be performing on Code Garden this year. And right now we'll do a keynote on the Dutch Festival 2020. That's really nice announcement. And as I've said on various channels, I really wanted to meet Scott in the real life, but thanks to COVID, again, it won't be possible on this event. But it's good to see people who from outside of Umbraco community doing collaboration or exchange of knowledge with our agenda. And did you guys sign up for this event already or not yet?
No, I didn't know that, to be honest with you. So I'm glad I'm here.
Yes, one influence more.
That's what I tuned in.
It's a free event. free virtual event, and I wanted to bring this to attention because today this event also is closing the call for speakers period. So there are couple more hours to the end of the day to submit some ideas for the talks, and again, there's a really nice community who is going to select those topics, and there is a schedule with some slots for community talks, keynotes, and stuff like that. So agenda is evolving, and everyone can contribute by suggesting some ideas. And if you will go to this page and visit the Sessionize link under the button, you will see that the event organizers are really open for various type of talks, demos, case studies, and things like that. So everyone can submit their session, and please do it and help organizers to tailor this agenda to be something amazing. Because if I'm correct, that's the single Umbraco event this year of this size, so I'm more than sure that it will be amazing for everyone to attend events like that. On the events topic, I just wanted to also remind about the Edinburgh virtual meetup, which is on the September 9th, and Owen and Paul Seal are going to give a talks there about how Owen used Umbraco Forms to create a notice board, and Paul is going to demo his new Google Analytics events package, and everyone can join as well. Again, thanks to the virtual opportunity and organization of the events, and same with the London Open Space meetup, which is the day after, and this time is kind of virtual roundtable discussion, and it will be hosted on Zoom. Again, everyone can tune in, join, and contribute and exchange some ideas, and also help community in general, Umbraco ecosystem to gather some kind of issues and things. So yeah, that's the events. Guys, did you attend any of the online events during this crazy Corona period, or same as I, you are skipping everything or missing it because of lack of either time or knowing about those events?
I attended to Code Patch, which was really well organized.
Yeah, myself, Code Patch, and the hackathon that they did prior to that, I went to as well. Yeah, I mean, I live quite remote from any technical meetups, really. So one of the small silver linings of this is that, you know, a lot of these things are available virtually now, so you can join from wherever you are.
Yeah, and I've seen some picture yesterday, probably shared by Lottie, that some of Umbraco community members were attending a training on how to organize engaging online events, and that's again another challenges, another things to face due to the circumstances around that. But it is possible to organize a really interesting online event, and everyone is right now trying to do that. And probably anything is better than none and nothing. So we can just help and contribute and attend. So that's let's do it, and we will be, of course, sharing links to anything related with Umbraco and similar topics. Last section of the agenda is about blogs, because I don't know if you noticed this as well, but probably due to also circumstances and people staying more at home, there is more blogs coming out from various people, and also in Umbraco ecosystem, what we can benefit from. And this week, we've seen, for example, article from Rick Butterfield about URL rewriting in Umbraco 8, which is kind of refreshed approach of dealing with segments and properties such as Umbraco URL alias and things like that done on top of the Umbraco 8 implementation. So using the components and composer approaches. So anyone who is dealing with some kind of custom need of rewriting the URLs, it can be really found here, and steps to be copied and adjusted are really written down very, very well by Rick here. And two posts from team from this week. One of them is explaining how he used Contentment from Likelher to build a content editor defined dropdowns and checkbox lists. And I don't know, guys, if you have used or seen the Contentment, but it looks like there is a need of more posts like that to define what can be done with this. And thanks to team, we right now know how to do things like that, for example. Did you guys see the content man or possibilities of it?
I saw his talk at the Umbraco Spark. Otherwise, looked into it.
And Andy, what about you?
I've heard of it, but that's all so far. I haven't had a chance to look.
Yeah, still, I also didn't use it, and it's good to see examples of implementations from various community members, because it's also eyes opening for all of us to see what's possible with that. So yeah, this is the blog which we'll link here, and the second one is about extending Umbraco helper class, and it's a really interesting approach. I've seen it in the various projects. A lot of people are doing it, and also another blog post which I will show from Sotiris is about caching the calls like that, and there is various ways of doing it. So Tim explained how he has extended the Umbraco helper to return the website object, which is strongly typed and generated from Models Builder, to, for example, loop through the main navigation elements straight from the template itself here. So really interesting example again. And the blog post which I've mentioned is about caching Umbraco nodes for using it in the multiple places, and it's from Sotiris. Again, probably you've seen the implementations like that. Always on almost every Umbraco project, we have some kind of method to get homepage or get settings node or things like that. So here Sotiris explained how we can cache it to make it more efficient, and again use it in our implementations to receive the settings and not cause our application to perform slow. And last blog post from this week is about error which Paul Seal explained about the service being unavailable, and why I wanted to highlight this, because there is a really nice link to the issue on GitHub where Paul was participating in January, and the same issue come back to him after a while, and it has a really nice explanations how to handle custom errors with Umbraco and IIS itself, with really nice explanations of what is the try skip IIS customers parameter is doing, and how the pass-through or existing response setting also behave here. So anyone who is dealing with custom errors and errors caused by custom errors, they can find a really nice explanations in his blog post here. And two last posts which I wanted to highlight are coming from Owen, and it was from last week, but we totally missed it. So it's a notice board built with Umbraco Forms, series of 2 blog posts of utilizing Umbraco Forms to build a notice board, which is kind of interesting approach, and also reusing what's inside of the Umbraco to build something really, really custom. Really nice blog post with various examples with second part of it. And massive comeback from a series of MVPs, Dennis Adolfi and his answers to questions for the MVPs, again highlighted by Owen in his series. So if you want to know more about Dennis and his contributions to Umbraco, you can find it all here. I'm looking on the agenda, and 2 blog posts are maybe not blog posts, but LinkedIn posts, which is interesting. I don't know if you've seen this. It was coming from Paul Sterling, and it's his take on Umbraco as open source, as a reflection of the ex-Umbraco HQ employee, some kind of back to the past memories and things like that. Really cool post, which is kind of related to what Niels shared recently about the whole mission of open source and how Umbraco is placing the company in the whole ecosystem. And last but not least is Mike Macy's post, which is less technical, but it's more personal, and it's explaining how Mike dealt with some kind of issues which we are all facing through the life, and how Umbraco community and being part of the community helped him to deal with it maybe a little bit better. So if anyone suffers with some issues and wants to relate and also see how being a part of the communities can help, go here and read Mike's blog. And I think, again, big high five, Mike, for sharing your journey with all of us. And that's from the perspective of community blogs. We also had 3 blog posts from Umbraco HQ. And Bjarke, maybe if you are here, you can explain. your team is constantly growing. You have some interns joining the teams as well. Is it kind of right now helpful for your team as well, or it's more for the another teams at the moment?
Oh, I have Nikolai on my team, so he's helping. Right now, he's working on Models Builder, trying to migrate from using Build Manager to using Ruslan.
Yep.
So it's very valuable for my team.
That's cool. And the 2 hires which were defined this week was Frederick, who joined. It was a sales team, right? Sales team in your departments. And the second hire was Anna, who joined the suits team as an intern. So 2 stories of the new interns are on Umbraco blog. And last item on our list is a September U profile, which is Kamila Milczarek. And what's interesting, it's a totally Polish-sounding name and last name, so I'm easily pronouncing that. And I didn't know that, but Kamila is a front-end developer who loves Umbraco CMS. So it's really interesting for me to meet Kamila. And I know that she has a umbraCoffee coaster, and I think at some point we'll be trying to find new guests to join our umbraCoffee, and we'll be scrolling through the U profiles and people who are highlighted by this kind of award. It's hard to say award, but that's for that. So Kamila's story can be read here. That's great to meet new people being involved in Umbraco HQ. And Andy, we've discussed it before joining live. It's your first time in umbraCoffee, which is besides the Code Gardens live event. So yeah, very 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 big thanks for joining us today, guys, and showing all the efforts done with the .NET Core version. Do you want to add anything else? Any more call to actions or questions for the community or anything else like that?
No.
Just keep bugs coming.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having us. It's nice to be able to show it to everyone.
Yeah. I think that's the whole call to action is to test it. Right now, we all know how to do it. Everyone can play around and see what works, what doesn't work for them. Report back and help, and wait for the another alphas releases. Is there a plan to release new alphas every specific period of time, or it's as many as needed?
Yeah, as needed. So if there is some critical bugs found and resolved, we will ship new ones, and otherwise, I plan to ship when the first front-end rendering is available and when examine is migrated and so on.
Awesome. We are all looking forward to this moment, and once again, thank you guys for sharing it all with us, and again, big high five, you rock, for achieving this milestone, and let us all know about the new milestones and new needs to test them out. So. Yeah, thanks all for watching as well. Thanks for reaching 500 subscribers of umbraCoffee. That's also happened today. Big high five for every single one of you. Share the information with anyone interested in what's happening in Umbraco community. And see you all, as usual, next Friday. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of the day.